This is the Samsung Galaxy Tab A8, and it was released in 2022 as a budget tablet, making it 3 years old, so should you get it in 2025? Starting off, we got this big old chungo of a screen. On the bottom, we have this tray which contains a nano SIM card spot and the micro SD spot. Now, there are two models of this tablet, the Wi-Fi and the cellular model, and this is the cellular model. On the top, we find a power button, volume buttons, and what looks like a microphone. On the left side, we find the speaker grills and what also looks like a microphone. And on the right side we find more speaker grills and the USB Type-C ports. And if you look closely, there's a headphone jack. On the back we find this aluminum finish, the Samsung logo up there. This sticker wasn't included. I should probably censor this. And then our camera. The tablet itself is 0.9 millimeters and it weighs 509 grams, making it light. On the front we have our 10.5 inches TFT LCD display with a resolution of 1920 by 1200 with a 16 by 10 aspect ratio and a pixel density of 216. Look, it's those videos that people use to just test out their screens. But anyways, despite this being a TFT panel, the viewing angles aren't too terrible. Now the screen is reflective because I have this screen protection on. Otherwise, the 16 by 10 aspect ratio makes it easy to just zoom into your content without really missing out on much. And for a screen, it's good enough for most uses. It may not be an OLED panel or any kind of that fancy stuff, but it still does the job pretty great. Yes, I put this gargantuan case on it right now, but the screen itself is, well, bright enough. This is at maximum brightness, and I assume it would be fine for outside use. You can see the outside test, and it's not really bright, especially if you're willing to put a screen protector on. And obviously, it's 60 Hz. We don't even need to argue about that. My unit here is running Android 13 on One UI Core 5.1.1. but it supports One UI 6.0. But I'm not willing to update it to that because I don't want it to lose performance. And the speakers in this tablet are literally the best speakers you can find in this price range. It has a quad speaker setup, literally 4 speakers, and they get very loud. So in this audio test, I'm not gonna be blasting the audio out to max because I'm not in a studio with a soundproof setup. So this is one of the songs that I use as background music in my channel. And let's just spike up the volume a bit, and even that will be loud. Skip over. If that doesn't sound convincing, then for reference, I'll just put a tablet with a generic set of speakers and let you be the judge. Here's another tablet with a set of like dual speakers, at least that's what it seems, and in the same volume level, so halfway, and you'll be the judge. This is the generic tablet and this is the Tab A8. Here is the other tablet. And here is the Tab A8. As you can notice, the Tab A8 has a significantly louder speaker than your generic tablet over here. And this is a Doogee tablet, which may not be fair to compare, but who cares. So just to give you an idea, this tablet is powered by the Cortex, those model T618, but then in GSM Arena it says T618 like Unisoc Tiger. Here's the GPU if you care. It's over there. So we got this stupid pile of garbage called Free Fire because I can't run any intense games, and by default it's set to high graphics. Let's go activate all this garbage and activate high FPS. Pretty much just max out this thing and try. So here we are. Well, it's smooth and, well, playable. I'm not gonna try something like PUBG, no thank you. And you're gonna know why later. That was some brief gameplay footage of an intense game. Now for a not so intense game. I'm not no pro at no Geometry Dash. There you go, I failed at that somehow. So right, obviously this tablet is not for gaming, but it somewhat works. You can always just get Nvidia GeForce now and play Fortnite. Forgot to mention, this tablet comes with 3 GB of RAM for the base model. You can get it up to 4 GB, and it comes in 3 storage variants, 128 GB, 64 gigabytes, and 32 gigabytes in 2025. And you know what's worse? This system takes half of the storage. Look at that! 15 gigabytes eaten up out of 32 gigabytes. So technically, it's like having a 16 gigabytes of storage tablet. We're not in 2014, for goodness sake. Now you might say, oh, there's a micro SD card slot, but for the price you're paying, you should not be getting 32 gigabytes of storage. This tablet, which costs half the price, has 128 gigabytes. So there's literally no excuse. Let's move on to our camera. The front camera is 5 megapixels and the back camera is 8 megapixels. And this is a test of the back-facing camera. As you can see, you got the amazing setup of a book, this tripod, and this table, and my phone recording, alongside the other Doogie tablet. And of course, the camera just works. This is a video test of the front-facing camera. It records at 1080p, 30 FPS. And it's again way more than enough for video calls because that's literally all you're going to be using it for. I didn't want to spend too much time with the camera test because really it's not even worth the hassle. So let's just move on to our battery life. This tablet has a 7040 milliamp hour battery, which is ginormous and can easily last you like 2 days if you're a light user, or perhaps even 3. If you're like a heavy user, expect it to like last you through the day, pretty much like that. I mean, I haven't been using this tablet much, but it has great battery life. And the charging speed is 15 watts, so it will take like 3 hours for it to get on a full charge, somewhere around that. And for the moment of truth, how much does this tablet cost? Brand new, it costs about $240, which for that price, especially considering the storage, it's not a good deal at all. In fact, if you just want a tablet for basic usage, you'd be better off with a Chinese tablet like this one from Doogie. Sure, you may not get the extra fancy features of One UI, despite this tablet running One UI core, but you get 128 gigabytes of storage, pretty much nearly the same performance, all for half the price. The only advantage I could say this has is that it's, well, easier to find a case or accessories for it. And I just generally recommend avoiding budget Samsung tablets because they don't provide the best value for their price range. Instead, if you want to get a Samsung tablet, you might as well go for the high-end ones or... So we appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Peace!